to my channel Coach IQ. We do nationalism in Europe, and today I teach you about Balkans. Now, by the last quarter of the 19th century, that means after 1875, nationalism as a concept did not really now adhere or did not really follow the earlier principles of liberalism and democracy. It started becoming a narrow objective, an objective with very limited ends. So it moved away from what it had really started to do. And the big European powers, they started manipulating. Manipulating is doing things for your selfish interest. They started manipulating the wishes, the aspirations of the subject people towards freedom and towards nationalism. And the other problem was that the nationalist leaders, they were always ready to fight with one another and go to war. The most serious source of tension after 1871 in Europe was in the region called Balkans. Now, where exactly is Balkans? Today, if you see Balkans, that whole place is made up of which countries? Modern day Albania, then you have Bosnia, you have Serbia, Slovenia, Romania, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Bulgaria, and Macedonia, Montenegro, and Greece. So you have these 10 places. I have said all which end with IA in the beginning, and Greece and Montenegro are the two which don't end with IA, so I've put it in the end. So made up of these 10 places, that was Balkans. Balkans was a region with a lot of variation, geographically and ethnically. And the people who lived there were called Slavs, S-L-A-V-S. Don't add an E, it will change the meaning. So, made up of Slavs. Since the 15th century, Balkans, most of Balkans was under the Ottoman Empire. Now, the Ottoman Empire, this entire region started having a lot of trouble, a lot of problem. There was a lot of discontentment amongst this in this particular place. A large part of the Balkans was under the control of the Ottoman Empire. This region became very explosive due to two reasons. Why there was so much of trouble within this region? One is ideas of romantic nationalism spread, and second was the disintegration of the Ottoman Empire. That is, the Ottoman Empire started becoming very weak. Now, all through the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire really tried to make itself strong, again through two ways: internal reforms and modernization. But it was not very successful. Now, one by one, these European subject nationalities broke away from the control of the Ottoman Empire and declared their independence. And these Slavic nationalities, they said that they are asking for independence or for political rights because they said that in the past they too had been independent but were later on subjugated, dominated by the foreign powers. So they used history to make a claim for their independence, and they felt that their struggles was a way of getting back their lost independence. Now, these different Slavic nationalities, they really struggled to define, to emphasize their identity and independence. And the problem was they were very jealous of each other, and they tried to gain more territories at the cost of the other. So as it is, they have managed to move away from the control of the Ottoman Empire and become independent. But now again within themselves they are fighting. Matters became more complicated when the big powers entered the scene. Now Balkans became an area of great conflict. There was a lot of rivalry during this period between the big powers over trade, over colonies, over military might, and over the naval might. Now, these big powers wanted control of Balkans. And as it is, you have seen that the Balkan nationalities are fighting amongst themselves. Now the big powers have entered the scene, and how the Balkan matter got more complicated, and you can see the intense rivalry between these big powers in the way the Balkan problem came about. Now each of these big powers, Russia, Germany, England, Austro-Hungary, they wanted more control over the Balkans and lessen the control of the other. So this led to a series of wars, and finally it led to the First World War. I really hope this topic has become clearer, and if you have any queries, please post them in the comments below, and do like the video, share it with your friends and classmates, and subscribe to my channel to continue studying with Coach IQ.